I will get started here in just a bit.
This meeting is being recorded. The recording has stopped. This meeting is being recorded.
All right, welcome everyone to the Monday Movement Makers. This is Paul Nystrom, and I'm glad to see you on the line today. Why don't we go ahead and share our wins of what's been going on in our businesses? So since there's only just a few of us, let's go ahead and just unmute and go ahead and introduce yourself and say what your wins are.
I'll start. This is Jamie Smith. Sorry, I can't be on camera right now because I'm actually heading out the door for work, but wanted to jump on and just say I'm new, so I'm super excited to be in the community. This is perfect timing for me because I was getting ready to craft my message, my stage message. And so my wins, I would say, is finding community. Also, just the momentum from last week of, creating action steps, during the week, really felt a lot of momentum with that. So I'd say those are my wins.
Great. So Jamie, were you a part of the Million Dollar Masterclass?
I was. It was excellent.
Yeah, it's quite intense, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a lot, but it was also, such good stuff. So was really grateful to be a part of it and that I, found it. I had been seeing Eileen's ads come across my way for maybe a month or two, and I knew that she was aligned with me and I would eventually jump in with her, but didn't expect to do so soon. So there you go.
Awesome. Well, great to have you, and thanks for coming in. So congratulations on your movement forward. That's great.
Thank you.
So let's see who else we have here. Who wants to also win? I see Nina, you're in here as well.
Hi, Paul. Yes, no, I am. I'm also new, and I've been trying to find my way. I could not do last week. I had to work, so I missed out on all the hype for that.
Okay.
I must be honest. I'm a little bit confused how things work. I like what I see so far, and I like how we will get clarity on our message. But I would like you, if you could just help me a little bit on how the whole process work. I'm a little bit unsure about that.
Okay.
But grateful to be here.
So what time zone are you in? What is the time? Is it evening there?
I'm South African, but I'm actually at the moment I'm in the US. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
all right.
Florida, so it's 1 year.
But it's still daylight hours for you then, huh?
Yes,
That's
yes. Yeah.
welcome to the United States. So
Thank you. Thank you.
well, great. And I'm not sure if anybody else is on, but one of the things I wanted to share about is we just completed the Million Dollar Masterclass, and it was a 5-day masterclass that extended into actually Saturday, so it was a bonus day of 6 days. And what we found is just a very intensive workshop where people were really coming up with some great ideas for their businesses. They're pulling some things together. So in effect, it was almost like a workshop. The VIPs actually had 1 hour before the actual class. So they're asking individual questions with Eileen, Jackie, Harrison. All three of them were there. And so we, in essence, got close to, I would say, almost 15 hours of good quality time. Almost, it was like one-on-one. And so my wins is the fact that my business has moved forward dramatically. And when I first started with the speaking school, is I just published my best-selling book, and it did a lot better than I expected. And it was the #1 book in 4 countries: in Germany, Australia, um, and England, and also in the United States. And so, in Canada. And so I wasn't quite sure what to do with that. So I joined up and did the Craft Your Signature Message. And in that 5-day session, it gave me the framework to go out on a 90-day speaking tour. And my actual following grew 15 times in 7 months doing that. And it was by basically posting like every day and doing shorts and reels and different things. But also I had some good content, and it really restructured the way that I did things. And so it's exciting because when I started out, I was a senior, I'm in my mid-60s, and I just published my memoir called Death of a Yellow Page Salesman. And it talked about my journey of being stuck for 7 years to where I just didn't know what to do with my life. And it was a kind of a difficult thing to write because it's kind of exposing some of the, I don't know, dirty laundry, so to speak. But it's exciting to see that a lot of other people are getting unstuck from not only the writing that I've been doing, but also the speaking. So Nina, you had a question concerning how it all works. Is a lot of people join up through the actual the speaking school, and typically they'll do a 3-month membership to start, and then they'll go ahead and opt in for more training after that. So if you stay with the course during the whole thing, it's included in a lot of the other programs that are more of like a workshop. Like, for example, I went to a workshop in Houston where we did a 1-day intensive where they created a website for us. We actually did a podcast setup. We did a lot of hands-on types of things that was very good for me because I'm not a pro or very efficient at ClickFunnels. So they actually had a web person and I'm still working with them to make sure everything's dialed in. And I'm really excited about the website. When people pull it up, they really, it really made a big impact. And so, I'll go ahead and put the web address in the chat here in a bit. But Jamie, if you're not out the door yet, I'm not sure if you're able to speak. Can you tell us a little bit about your movement and what you're doing as far as the speaking and anything else? Are you still on?
I am. Yeah. So my brand is Lux Every Day, which stands for Lead a Unique, Extraordinary Existence Every Day. And I have a signature program, but I need to launch it on a bigger level because when I launched originally, I launched it at a $500 level just so that I could get the women in the door, so that I could make sure, that I knew what was working, what was not working, what the gaps were, what needed more time, what needed more, whatever it was, So I really wanted to hone that in. But now it's kind of like moving from that $500 level to the high ticket level so that I also have a full-time job. So really being able to make enough so that I can actually, work on my passion and my business full time. So it's really moving from, gaining traction with my audience and getting a bigger audience and leveraging it more and being able to sell to that higher ticket audience is what I guess I'm trying to say. And then, yeah, last week, I'm trying to remember all that I did. I did post as far as being an expert. And Nina, I would just say definitely if you have access, they're going to leave the videos up. Do you know how long, Paul, in the Facebook group?
I'm not quite sure.
It was phenomenal. So if you have any time at all, Nina, it's worth going back to the Facebook group and just doing as much as you can because it was really great content. So yeah, I posted for an expert in wealth because mine is more triggers and default patterns and soul igniters and energy management. So wealth, but I work with high achieving women. So wealth would be a great addition to, those talks to leverage their audiences. So I did post to find experts on that. I'm starting to create a sizzle reel for my speaking, which I don't have a whole lot of content. So it's going to be a little slim at first, but I'm just putting together content. I spoke with a VA company just to help me move faster and see they're going to help me create the sizzle reel kind of as the free trial for me to try them out. So I'm kind of just leveraging what advantages I have and trying to create, what I have, stuff out of what I have. Does that make sense?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Does that help? Is that what you're looking for?
Well, yeah, I mean, and part of it's just basically sharing, about your business. And what's interesting is a lot of times when people come on to the chapter meetings, and right now this is the only chapter meeting we have every week, and it's a chance to be able to share. Some people have just read their actual signature message because they just have written it out, and they kind of want to get feedback on kind of how it sounds. The last session we had, I think about 7 or 8 students or members in the session, and Jackie was here and gave some excellent feedback about some of the things that they were presenting and how to make it better and what she thought was good. But also just your peers online will give you a chance to be able to give you feedback on what you're doing. So I can tell you, Jamie, you're very articulate and very fast spoken, and your pace is really, it's exciting. Your voice
Thank you.
engenders a lot of enthusiasm, and I think you'll really attract the right market to you. One I'll mention to you is that Eileen gave me some advice in the very initial starting of my business that was just very providential in a big way. And she told me to go out and get $1,000 clients. And of course, she was addressing everybody in the training session. But that $1,000 clients just really made a difference because the money had already invested. I ended up was able to make a return of investment of around, it was sizable, and they funded me to go into the next thing. And some of the $1,000 clients I got were actually $1,000 a month clients. So, Jamie, you're doing the right thing and going out and getting $500 clients. And the one thing that she does teach now is to work on your high ticket offer and really start with that, because you can always drop down, but it's hard to raise somebody up from 500 to 5,000 or 10,000. So if you like, for example, right now, my high ticket offer is I help somebody to become a best-selling author on Amazon, and we actually, the high ticket offer is where we actually help them to do it, and they're included in a book. And so in a matter of a weekend, you can write a best-selling book, and it'll be published anywhere from 3 to 6 months later. And so the investment for that it's sizable, it's 10,000. But with that, you actually get a podcast setup. You get an entire platform similar to ClickFunnels, but a lot easier to use. It has everything integrated with email and everything else. And I won't bore you with all the details, but the thing is that once you have a best-selling book that you're the author of, then it really kind of opens doors. But the speaking of what you have, the content in your book, really, I think it accelerates everything in a big way. So, Nina,
no, thank you. Yeah. And can I add one more thing, Paul?
Sure.
So I did get a lot of clarity kind of on my messaging. 2 things I'm trying to remember. I did get clarity on like how to present my $10,000 offer and then a $5,000 offer. And then I was going to get feedback on doing the $2,500 level as well. But So I did get some clarity as far as how to maneuver that. So I loved that, but I also am looking forward to feedback on, for sure, my program and my signature thing, because I, over the last couple, I'm a part of another mastermind. And over the last 2 weeks, probably, I've realized that when I'm speaking to high achieving women and I'm talking about default patterns and triggers, it's like, it sounds like work, right? And when Jackie and Eileen were talking about, even though that's not the title of my core message, it's like the first three foundational pillars they go through. And so I need to reword those so it doesn't sound like so much work, but it's truly what will help free them to be more centered, to be more powerful, and empower them to go to the next level, because they're able to not self-sabotage anymore. They're able to know what their default patterns are. So I really did gain a lot of clarity as well from that, of I need to rework some of that messaging. So I'm excited to have feedback.
Good, good. So, Jamie, are you actually part of the speaking school?
I am now, because I joined the 3-day workshop in Houston.
All right. So one of the things that's really a great place to start, as far as your messaging goes, is it's basically a 5-hour course called Craft Your Signature Message.
Okay.
And you get a workbook, and then it talks about the framework that you have in a talk that's just so solid. I mean, when I heard this, I just thought, oh my gosh, this is a game changer for me, because you always want to start out with a universal question like, have you ever wanted a chance to be able to do this, to be able to achieve, the same result? And so then you tell your story about why, you're the person to tell them about. And usually it's kind of a road that's had a pitfall in it, to where you overcame it. Because the one thing I learned in publishing my book is sharing kind of like the hard story, is people really identify with that. And I had no idea the response that I would have had, because if I would have shared just about my successes, then it wouldn't have the same impact. But so when you do that story, is you're talking about like a framework, and you always pull it over to them. And this is the power of it, is you talk about, maybe you've had a situation where you've hit this roadblock and you didn't know what to do, or you thought, this tech is just so hard, I don't know how to get on top of it. Or and you kind of paint a picture of the hell, but on the other side is the heaven. And so there's the framework of 3 or 4 steps that I want to go ahead and just identify. You don't necessarily teach them, but you give them the steps for transformation leading into of your master class, your workshop, or whatever it is. And then the closing is just, key with her BITS framework. And, it's just, it's gold. It's absolute gold.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all of that input, Paul, because I'm really excited. This is exactly what I've been needing, because I'm great one-on-one with people, and I'm great on stage, but the selling piece, one-on-one is great because I can make that personal connection, but on stage, it's like I just need to I have gaps that it's not, not being able to close that kind of a large deal transaction with them. So that's what I'm super excited about. And my signature program is based on definitely my pitfall, where my life was leveled to like ground zero. And it took me, 10 years to learn these lessons. So really my viewpoint is helping them get to A to B in the 10 weeks versus 10 years, right?
Right. Some of the things that they taught us in that $1 Million Masterclass, and Nina, I beg your just your patience here, because it was something that was revolutionary. But I'd like to actually, can I share something on the board with you? Would that be okay? All right. So Jamie, you're not going to know what I'm talking about on this, but what they're talking about is the average person. And they asked us the question. They asked, what do you think the average person makes as far as a salary? And people are saying, oh, like $5,000 a month. So that's $60,000 a year. And so they went ahead and said, oh, forget that. Let's just go ahead and round it up to 100,000. And so, we have $100,000. And so with an actual entrepreneur that has a program that's in place and they actually have the recurring revenue is typically they're going to be in the neighborhood of $1 million. So when you look at a program and you say, "Oh, that's just so much money," it's $3,000 or it's $5,000. How can I ever do that? But what they're talking about is really the difference between these two is $900,000. So when you look at doing a program, how much is it really costing you? Is it this amount or is it this amount? And it's the actual understanding that the opportunity cost is sometimes something that's just people don't really look at that. And that's probably my biggest suggestion, Jamie, for being able to sell is understanding that is that when you help people in that respect, it's something that you're helping to achieve the bigger numbers. And it's not about selling something, but it's actually helping them to become a millionaire.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And Jackie covered that a little bit, but it was good to reiterate some of that. I didn't catch all of it.
I wrote a book on this, and it's called Coaching Inc. It's on Amazon, and it was a #1 bestseller, and it actually came out before my memoir. And I have one chapter in it called Top Gun Coaching, and I talk about this very thing. And so it's just how to do a one-call close, and you're actually featuring what the opportunity has cost versus the actual cost of that. So it's only 99 cents on the ebook. It's a quick read. It's chapter 12. And when I heard this, I got really excited because, that's what I used to teach all my salespeople that I did, had for years and years and years. So
what's it called again, Paul?
It's called Coaching Inc. INC, and the lead author is Ray Bram. Here, I'll just write it down for you. Coaching Inc. and Ray Bram. And it's BREHM.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay. All right. So, Dina, you've been patient for a long time. Tell me about your business.
I need to have a little bit of a mindset change, coming from a Africa continent. I mean, our money, the South African rand is 19 rand against the dollar. So it's sort of the way you guys think, which is great for me to have that bigger mindset. But I've been quite successful in my own country and having a lot of, I've done I call it the Royal Blueprint, which is a very unique sort of the way what colors mean and how women dress and how your voice and the color you wear, how that's all connected, and in a decision fatigue world, I really help women to go very quick to what is their wow and how they could dress that to have more confidence and more joy. But for me, I think now the biggest thing is to come in right of the right people, and I don't think it's just for me, but it's to have that lead magnets to your website. But because my South African people is not going to pay these amounts, no matter how good I sound, they cannot afford it, So. Yeah, so it's an interesting place to be. it's not that I can't think bigger. It's just you also have to be in front of the right crowd to see that.
Exactly.
And I also love the Lord, and there's such a big thing for me of whatever you give should have the value, and because sometimes you pay a lot for things, but then once you're on that course, it does not sell you what you thought it would be. And I think we are sort of on a pivotal point, also integrity wise. And I'm very, very careful of that. Not to sound like this huge, like high ticket person, but to really give the value as well to people. I know I can, but you have to, I want to make sure that it is the right thing. I'm also in my 60s, so you walk through life, and I think it's important that you really give the value that you advertise. So,
Exactly. And one of the things that's important is to understand that your base is so much bigger than South Africa.
yes.
And I've been surprised at the people that have come into this Monday meeting that are from all over the world. I mean, I have some people at 3 a.m. back in Australia that come in, and some from England, and some from Canada, and some, from even Central America. And it's surprising to me that even in those locations where sometimes it's challenging as far as an economy, is they're able to draw on a base that's even larger. I mean, Canada doesn't have that great of exchange rate either. But when you pick up United States clients, it doesn't matter. You may pay a higher rate for transaction fees or, exchange rate or whatever. But the thing is you're drawing on a base that's not a Motel 6 customer, but it's a Ritz-Carlton customer. And so, the mindset is really different. I mean, a lot of times mindset comes to a thing that we've conditioned ourselves of what we've experienced ourselves. And so it's very hard for us to imagine what it'd be like for somebody else. Like, it's very hard for me to imagine the lifestyle of what Harrison and Eileen have, in the fact that, they're flying in jets, private jets and things. I think, wouldn't that be nice and everything? But, it's raised my level of expectation for myself. And to be honest, when I originally started this, I was thinking, it'd be nice to have an extra retirement income of $3,000 to $5,000 a month. And I'm thinking, that would be a very nice thing. Well, my level of expectations have added another zero behind that. And so, one of my favorite books was a book that I read when I was like 25 years old, and it's called The Magic of Thinking Big. And all it was is the difference between a good idea and a really great idea is adding an extra zero or two behind it. So if you're talking an idea that's 100,000, just adding a zero and it's $1 million, idea. And so I don't know how you feel about Donald Trump, but he's the one that wrote the book.
I feel good about him.
Well, good enough.
I'm a Christian, we want to get.
Yeah. Well, and something else too, you talked about, being able to give a value, to somebody to where you're actually delivering, something that, is a repeatable thing. They're going to be with you, kind of like a lifetime client. And I worked in the industry of yellow pages, where we sold the advertising in the back of the phone books. And so our clients, we could realistically show them how to get a 5 times return on their investment. And we just ask them a series of questions that would guide them, say, okay, if you're investing $20,000, let me show you how you can make not 100,000, but 120,000, so that you can make back your investment plus 5 times. And so the next year when I came back, say, well, how did you do? Say, I think we want to renew. It's just, and so, the level of expectation was like that. And so, the thing that was great about this is the program I was with before Eileen, I had ran into a lot of frustration, and it was something that I wasn't able to afford the program, and it was just $1,200 a month. But on retirement income, that was something that I didn't have, and so I had an extra car, and so it was worth about $3,600. So I went ahead and sold it to pay for 3 months of this program. And it was very much kind of similar to this program, but it didn't emphasize speaking. It was more about having all of the processes in place, the right ClickFunnels page and the right, landing page and, all of the different tech stuff. But I noticed that they were kind of stringing it out to where you had like a couple meetings a month and there wasn't any one-on-one time. And I felt like they were just spooning me along to the point where, maybe over a period of a year or two, I might get the results I was looking for. Yeah. And then after I'd been with, with the speaking school, I had made close to, a sizable amount to be able to invest for a high ticket offer with the speaking school. Well, I would have had to invest in that, and then the return on that, it's just something that I feel very good about, because right now, my return on investment is 20 times what I've invested in the actual speaking school. And so, I look back at my following that jumped from 2,000 to 30,000 people. Now, I would have never met. I had no idea how it happened. I have no idea. I just did what they did, and I posted online. I tried to do like a daily thing. I started 2 challenges. The last 2 months, I did a 30-day challenge on the book of Proverbs, and it was called the 31 Days of Wisdom. And it didn't have a whole lot of people in it, but I was on there every day, and people are seeing the content because I post it to a group I have, and then also to my public profile. And my international profile I have is people from all over the world, and that's the one that has like 13,000. And then my personal profile, where I know people like here, locally, and that are, kind of my peers, is, just a few thousand. But my LinkedIn's grown to almost 6,000. And so just combined in Instagram and Twitter and all that, it's 30,000 people. And so, it grows as you basically take the action. But I think it's important to have a system that you can plug into and get results quickly. And I think that's the thing people are looking for is, I always thought about it, these cars that do the drag racing, to where, they get up to the line and they spin their wheels and they're just making all this smoke and all this action, but they're not going anywhere. And so, the whole idea of racing is to get down the track. And that's what I think we really want to do. And even an airplane, I mean, you go down the runway a long way before you finally take off. And everybody's like, how long till takeoff? So I don't know. Does that help answer your questions at all? Or do you have any other questions for me? Nina? You're muted right now, I think.
But
There you are.
yes.
I can hear you.
The event in Houston, could you talk a little bit about that? Because I saw there's 100 people, sort of placed for 100 people, and my thought was just, it's the amount of money to pay for that, and I just wondered if if you would get. Obviously, I'm a little bit cynical because I've paid so much before, but if that would still give you enough attention, for.
Speak about that is it's something I'm actually registered for, and they had an event very similar to that, but it was more about the tech portion and setting up her website and actually having the speaking platform. Whereas this is more about the messaging and dialing in the masterclass, and to where Eileen is actually going to close a high ticket offer for you. And that's for I think they had a qualifier on that is, there has to be a lot of people in the room besides, just your mother. But one of the things that I found is that if you have people that, you're actually plugging into their system, like one of the things that I found is that has helped me to grow my following is to be on other people's podcasts. And so when I actually get a podcast request, I set up a form. And so, if I have a podcast, I want to know how many followers do they have. Similar, they want to know how many followers I have. And so what we're doing is we're sharing basically our audiences with each other. And so to be able to fill a room is kind of like the most important aspect of it. But for, the way that Eileen and also Jackie can close a high ticket offer, I mean, it's like nothing to them. I mean, to me, my knees are shaking, my palms get sweaty, and it's just a little bit daunting when you're asking for $10, $20, or $30,000. And for her, I mean, she's even done $350,000 one-day session with somebody. I mean, and then transforms it 5, 6, 10 times, with that investment. So is it a good investment to invest $350,000 to make several million? Well, yeah. And it's all about conversion. It's how do you make the engine better? How do you make things a little bit, tweak it? It's kind of like you're talking about colors. How do you have the right combination, the right professional look to be able to get the results that you want? And it's that type of coaching, it's that type of instruction that you have. But when I went in April, it was the biggest investment I ever made. I mean, it was well over 3-4 times what I'd ever done before, even selling my car, but I'd already made the money. So I thought, why not do it? And so since then, it's just led to one thing after another that to now I'm getting invited into podcasts, and I actually have a podcast guest that's coming that has over 1 million followers. So, think, how did that happen? And part of it's just having everything in place to where, it looks professional. And then when people take a look, they go, oh, okay, this looks good. And I'll tell you, this $1 Million Masterclass, the amount of just quality ideas and things that came to fruition for people. I mean, I've been in marketing and advertising for over 40 years. And I'll tell you, it was the most exciting 1 week I've ever had in my life, real seriously. And even my book talks about all these marketing ideas that were just, had great results. But, I'm excited about the group because the level of quality people it's just so high caliber to where I've seen in other groups. But, I think it comes down to, maybe we could have a private conversation. I'd be happy to have one with you and to maybe answer more specific questions with you.
That'd be great, because I know we have to make this decision today.
Okay.
So I would really appreciate it. I don't want to have, I know you have other things to talk about, but it would be great.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah. Let's go ahead and circle back to that maybe on a private call, and we can do that. I set up the coolest web address that has my Zoom thing, and it's just paulzoom.com. So PAULZOOM.com, and I'll tell you, it's the easiest thing. And it took me a few times to get it dialed in because when you copy and paste links, sometimes they change, and so I don't know. Well, we have a couple people else on the call. I see that Alexandra's on, and I think somebody else dropped off. So unfortunately, so Alexandra, do you want to do it?
Well, I'm not even sure. I just saw the thing in the Facebook group. I say, yeah, why not? So I'm not
Okay.
sure what we are doing here, but just following what you said, I have a question because yes, when you get onto somebody's podcast or when you invite a guest speaker, it's really a game of like bringing, our following together to reach more people, right? But then if you are starting from kind of scratch and you don't really have a following, you don't have an emailing list, how can you make yourself like, sexy enough that someone would want to do it with you?
Good question. Really good question. In fact, I had that question about 7 months ago because I only had several thousand people that were following me. I had a book that was at the printers that hadn't come out yet. And I'm thinking, okay, what now? And then when the book hit, it was a #1 bestseller in 4 countries and did incredibly well. And I'm thinking, okay, what now? And so I plugged into the Craft Your Signature Message. I took it and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I need. And, it was like a $400 investment. And so
What's a craft your signature thing?
that's part of the every one of the packages that they have has the speaking.
Okay.
The Craft Your Signature Message is like a 5-day challenge. That's kind of the core product for the whole speaking school. And it helps you to basically dial in your message to where, you have your right audience, you have, kind of what your drawing card is with people and, what it is that you can be able to help them to achieve. Because, the one thing, let me share something with you. Just a very good foundational type of thing. Does it cut out when I turn my head as far as the volume, or is it okay?
No, it's good.
Okay. So what happens at a lot of like webinars or workshops or everything else is the person's up the front, they're at the board like his, and they're doing, oh, you need to do this, 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 and this. But the thing is, all it is your teaching, right? But the thing is, they're thinking about it in what's in it for me,
Yeah.
right? So they're looking for this to be transformed.
Yeah.
So the transformation is, here's the problem, and here's the reason why I might be the solution for you, because I went through the same thing myself. And then you kind of paint the picture of whatever it was, the hardest thing that you had to overcome. And a lot of times when I'm coaching people, like they can't figure out what their movement is or their message, I just ask them, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to go through? And one said, it was the death of my brother. He committed suicide, and I just have a hard time recovering from it. I said, that's exactly. And she goes, I'm still going through it. I understand. So you just have to be 1 week ahead of your students. So whatever you learn this week, teach them next week. And so that's kind of the key, because stories really motivate. I mean, it's amazing. I was thinking, how can my memoir really help people when it's just stories about me? Because people think, oh, that's great about, Paul, but they weren't stories of success though necessarily. They were stories of challenges of losing my house, my wife, my car, my health, and all this stuff. And at the lowest point in my life, I decided, I might as well check into a monastery for men because it's better than being on the streets.
Yeah. No, it's true. People love stories. They do. Yeah. It's powerful. And so, but the thing with this program, because it's exactly where I'm feeling stuck right now. It's like, really figuring out, I'm more in the transformational, area. So when we do transformation, like, personal development, spiritual development, sometimes it's hard to really figure out like an outcome that people will want to pay for, So that's where I'm a little struggling now. So this program, they don't sell it on its own, right?
That it does what?
They don't sell it just on its own, this program. What you craft your message or
So how did you come into here? Are you in the speaking school or where are you at?
No, I'm not. I'm in the Millionaire Masterclass.
Oh, okay. So what that was is a lot of the people that are in the speaking school got invited to that, but also people that Eileen and Jackie and Harrison know invited some other people that aren't a part of the speaking school. So the speaking school is I can send a link over to you, and
Yes.
you actually can join up, and it's a 3-month program for $397. And
Okay.
so you get like 13 weeks to be able to go through all of this information. You have a platform, and it's just, and you actually they have like speaker makeovers where it's kind of similar to this, but it's a little bit more professional because you actually, you submit like a 5 to a 10 minute signature message, and then one of the Jackie typically will do a critique of it. So she takes an hour, between playing and oh my gosh, it's just amazing.
That's a little bit more affordable than the Houston weekend, which I would love to attend.
Well, I understand, and so when I tried it, it was something, and then the 4th month came, and it was $297 a month, and I'm thinking, you know what, that's kind of big by itself, the $400 for 3 months was okay, but the $300 for a month. But you know what? I thought, I've made so much money, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then, I just thought, and then it's amazing. As soon as I did that, it's like the heavens opened up. So I had all these clients that said, would you give me a proposal of what you could do for our marketing, or could you do, would you entertain, coaching me or whatever? And so it paid for the high ticket offer.
But you started with just this and then went on with a high ticket. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it's not the fastest way, but it's the way I could do. And not everybody has the same amount of gas in the tank, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. So Paul, I will just message you, or put something on the Facebook, on the post you had on Facebook, so you can send me the link.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Thank
and
you.
Also another thing is all the people that basically I present with the program is I'm actually an affiliate, so I can help mentor you, one-on-one with that.
Okay.
So
Great.
that's kind of a thing. I do a few sessions, and then also the Monday's open. I mean, like any of your friends, or if you think they'd really, might get something out of the speaking school, or to be able to audit, to be able to come. It's always free. So I've had a few friends that were curious about it. I said, just come on in and check it out. It's a great program.
Can I just ask you one quick question about the weekend in Houston? Did I hear correctly that you can also bring someone with you?
I didn't stay on for everything because I went ahead and just made the decision, and I knew I was going alone. So I'm not sure about that. And
I did hear that same thing, but I would double check it. Yeah. But I believe either Harrison or Eileen said something about that. Even bringing your kids you're trying to up level, like your older kids, they mentioned it, but I don't know what the parameters are around that.
Well, I think you have to be like business partners probably, or something like that. But it's like you buy one ticket and then 2 people can come. I mean, that's how.
And that's a great value with that is I know the last in-person workshop that we did is they were pretty flexible with that. So but if you go ahead and email Eileen at Eileen, what is it? It's just through her assistant Pepe, and I think it's Eileen at EileenWilderCoaching.com.
Okay.
Write that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm happy to get some answers for you, and get back with you too, either one. So
just need to find a business partner.
yeah. with the cost, I guess. But
Yeah.
the most important thing, though, is to establish a path and a plan that's going to produce. And so, the best advice I was ever given was in a class session, and Eileen said, "Go out and find $1,000 clients." And I
Yeah.
thought, it's so good. And I thought, 1,000's a lot. That at least from my perspective, it was. And I just started thinking, what can I offer for $1,000? And all of a sudden, it was just like magic, because people started saying, what would it cost for you to do this? And if you could help me to become a best-selling author, what would it cost? I said, well, how about if I coach you for 3 months, and we do this, for $1,000, and I'll guarantee you that you're a best-selling author. And they go, oh, that's great. And then I found that to be able to do the work and actually publish them, that if I charged $2,000, I could do it in 3 to 6 months time, and I could actually put them in my book that's going to be a guaranteed bestseller. I'm on my 4th book now, and all of them should end up being #1 bestsellers.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's just something that I learned along the way. That was just kind of a technique. And I actually work for a publisher called Bestseller Publishing. And I learned kind of the inside system of it. But in the process, I hit kind of a rock bottom. And it wasn't due to any like addictions or anything. It was just you can read my book. It's all in there. So it's called Death of a Yellow Page Salesman. So yeah, it's got a good ending though. It's not a deer. So here, let me get you. I know this address is good. Where did I put my? So this is my best info at Paul T. Newstrom.com. And then I can get you the information that you're looking for that.
Okay. And I don't see the whole of I don't see the beginning of the board, but it's best info, right? Or info. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Perfect.
Awesome. So do you have any else? See, okay, everybody's still on the same. So what do you think of my new office? I'm excited about it.
It's snazzy. I like it.
Yeah. Now let me show you my other office. This is out on the back porch. I live in Minnesota, and this is my desk. But this is the Mississippi River behind me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so it's been just a blessing to be here, and God has been so good to us, tell you. So I don't know if there's any other questions. Jamie, it's good to see you. I guess you're on
I look forward to getting to know you, Paul. You've been great. So thank you.
Definitely see you in October in Houston.
So any input in growing your audience, I'd appreciate, because that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. So any specific podcasts you would suggest me look into for women 40 plus high achievers, that would be great. And just any additional, input or tips that you have, that would be awesome. Thank you.
The one thing is back approach to it. And Eileen talks about this, is to be able to just kind of be eased back. And so I just look at whatever presents itself to me, and then I pursue it. And so if I see something online that I like there's this guy that he was just teaching some things about how to increase your following that I thought were just really great. And so I went ahead and pursued him. And I actually invested in a small program. It was $97, but it gave me a chance to be able to have an audience with him. And I asked him a question. I said, what would it take to be able to be on your podcast or else have you on my podcast? And he goes, well, tell me what you got. And so I was able to present him, and it cost me $97, but the guy has $1 million following. Well, hence that is I'm in a mastermind with him where twice a month I meet with him and 3 other people for an hour. And he was telling me, okay, this is how we can sell 10,000 books without any paid advertising, and also to be able to have no mass media. And I was like, man, this is incredible. And I think this all came from a $97 investment that led to a $300 a month investment. So,
Paul, what was the $97 investment again? Sorry, I didn't get that.
A guy that has he has a podcast that I was interested in. And so I went ahead and invested with him, and I found out that he's able to grow other companies with it's what's called affiliates. And he's just a master at it. Okay. And so my podcast is called Skyrocket to Success. And it has the number 2 in between skyrocket and success. And so it's skyrocket2success.com. And, it's kind of a new podcast. I actually set it up when I went to Houston back in April. And so, but I've, interviewed several people that I know. One was a Grammy nominated singer that she has a program that calls Win with Your Voice, and how to actually train your voice to be able to be, something that's appealing instead of real high and squeaky. It's something that's really cool, So you can actually work with that. So.
And one last question. Do you know how often Eileen does this, like the weekends stuff?
Well, she did one in April, and she's doing one. They said they're going to do one late summer, or early fall. So it looks like it's about every 6 months.
Every 6 months, yeah. Okay.
But the important thing is that get plugged into a program that's going to help you to do what you need to do. And so there's some different areas, whether it's tech you need help with or the actual messaging. But something that I just wrote a book on, and it's about establishing, and it's called Skyrocket to Success is the name of the book that's coming out. And it's how to establish an author speaker platform that basically gets your message and broadcasts it to millions of people. So the important thing is that your message has to resonate with what they're looking for. So I use a program that helps me to research keywords on Amazon of what's selling, and what the demand is. Like I was just, I have to write another, it's a chapter in a book here in the next 4 days. And so I was researching. I actually woke up at 3:30 this morning, and I was researching these keywords to see, what is the real, where's the real, money in this? What are people looking for? And I found that the difference between those wanting to become an author and those wanting to become a speaker, it was like 5 times greater for speaker. And I was focusing more on the writing aspect. And to me, writing a best-selling book is like the foundation to your house. But what you say on top of that, and on my speaking tour when I go out, and I'd be, telling my story and presenting, how people can get unstuck and move forward in their lives, in a matter of, just a few weeks' time if they did my Rise Up Master Growth Method. And I had an acronym for R is for this, I is for this, S is for this, E is for that. But I didn't teach them what, I just told them what it was. And to be able to plug into that and see the transformation, you'd have to be the program. And so, I just sensed that and people were telling me that have known me for like 50, 60 years, said, Paul, I didn't know you had it in you. And it's because I hadn't been telling people, it's just, I was writing stuff, but I'll tell you the number of people that say they'll read your book and they actually do. I mean, people don't have time for books. They want to see a reel, they want to see a podcast, they just, and so I have found the biggest thing I do is like the 50-second reels. And I'll tell you, I have been having so much fun with Instagram, to where I'll find a template that I just love, and I'll just plug in my photos, and it has the music I like. And I take a lot of photographs. Like when I was in Houston, man, I just filled up my iPhone with all, and I got some great stuff of Jackie and Eileen and Harrison, and I'll do it again here this October, because it's just great content. And when I started publishing that content, and pictures in the jet, and flying over Houston and coming in, and then we went to Joel Osteen's church. We met him personally because personal friends with Harrison and Eileen, and Harrison bought us a book. His most recent one was very similar to the book I wrote, and so he autographed it, and we were talking, and I got videos of that, and it's just one thing after another. And so posting that every day, I like to do 2 to 3 posts a day. But I can take the Instagram reels and put it on Facebook. And really between those two, that's the main thing. But the one thing that I've really haven't utilized like I want, but I did when my book publisher, and it just, that's what made my book skyrocket, was LinkedIn, because I hit 0.5 million people with my book. It had just hit #1. It was 99 cents for a week's time, and they could get it. And to become #1 best-selling author, it takes between 10 to 12,000 downloads a day.
Oh, wow.
But to hit 6.5 million people with a #1 best-selling author, and they're all in my niche. And so, that's the kind of power, so that when you take your message and spread it to millions, you're going to get the results you're looking for.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Paul.
You bet, Alexandra.
Oh yeah, I was asking, do you remember the dates of the weekend?
I think it's that second week. What is the 9th? I think it's the 10th, 11th, to 12th. Don't quote me.
Okay.
If you write to me at that info@paultnewstrom.com.
I think it's the 8th, 9th, and 10th, because their special event, one-day event for the nonprofit is the 11th, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. I can find out for you.
Thank you.
You bet. You bet. Well, we'll go ahead and sign off today, unless there's any other questions. I see something in the chat.
Thank you, Paul.
You bet. All right.
Pardon?
Let's be good with you. And if there's anything I can do, feel free to reach out either through Messenger or Facebook, part of the group, or otherwise. But until next Monday or before, we'll talk to you later.
Paul, I want to ask you, can I quickly stay on? Can we come up again or something? I just want to ask you about.
Sure. Let's jump off and jump back on again, though. Okay.
Okay. So you're going to leave and come up. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.